It's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever, Warren.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, ermatic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. Crazy news. Opti started covering this yesterday, and I wanted to cover it again because it is massive, massive news. So Fidelity wrote a report, and the name of the report was Bitcoin First Revisited. Right, this is something that they've talked about in the past, but again, this is one of the largest asset managers in the world. They have $4.5 trillion under management, and they are saying the quiet part out loud. In fact, they are siding with Bitcoiners. They are saying what Bitcoiners have been screaming from the rooftops for a while now, that Bitcoin is not crypto. Bitcoin is different than crypto. We've covered the reasons why Bitcoin is the only thing that is truly decentralized. There is no bureaucratic elite that could change the rules of the game to benefit themselves. There is no seigniorage. When Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, he or she or they had no expectation that Bitcoin was going to have any value. So it was this sort of virgin birth, this virgin conception, right? It was this experiment. And for the first couple of years, it really truly had no value until that infamous, I call it infamous because I feel bad for the guy that did the transaction. But, the first recorded Bitcoin transaction where this person traded 10,000 Bitcoin for, I think it was 2 Papa John's pizzas, right? So, every single cryptocurrency that has come since then, the founders, the creators, knew that it was going to have value. So what tends to happen, what has happened is whether it's Ethereum, XRP, the original creators, they've kept the vast majority of the supply to themselves. So they've really used those projects to enrich themselves. And that's in stark contrast to Bitcoin. Satoshi disappeared. That was one of the most important things Satoshi has ever done is, he created he created or discovered, depending on how you look at it, this amazing freedom technology, freedom enabling technology, and he disappeared. No one's ever heard from him again. And I think that's a good thing. I think that adds to the mythology of Bitcoin. And I think it's really important for it to have this type of story, because I think that once you put a human being behind it, I think it kind of takes away from the allure in a way. Right. Satoshi Nakamoto has become this mythological figure, so to speak. Right. It kind of almost reminds me of, because there was no video back then, but I guess this is the closest comparison. The founding fathers of the U.S. Right. We all know of George Washington, George Washington this, George Washington that. There's no videos of the guy. Right. You can read what he said, but you don't really know. Right. And there isn't even a photograph because there wasn't cameras back then. So it's all kind of oil paintings. So it kind of created this I don't want to say mythological figure, but it kind of is. Right. Do people really know who the true George Washington was? And again, George Washington, like Satoshi, in a way, did something extremely important. He was elected into power twice. And he walked away. He could have stayed president for life, therefore becoming a king. But with all that power, he decided to walk away. And that set a precedent. And that was one of the most important things he's ever done in his life. So anyways, this is pretty crazy that this huge company, $4.5 trillion assets under management, is saying what Bitcoiners have been saying for years. Bitcoin, not crypto. Bitcoin is unique. Bitcoin is special. And that's massive because that report gets sent to a lot of other very, very wealthy and powerful institutions, not to mention institutional investors as well, right? Michael Saylor was really, really hyped that this happened. We'll read you his tweet. And of course, Fred Thiel. And Fred Thiel is the chairman and CEO of Marathon Digital Holdings, one of the largest mining companies, publicly traded mining companies in the US. So pretty big news. We're going to talk about that. We're going to break down also the other institutions that have shown interest in Bitcoin. And if time allows, we are starting to see the creep of the attack on the so-called unhosted wallets. We're starting to see a creep of that. And we'll show you a screenshot. This is something that not only have I seen through this screenshot, but this is something that I've heard from other people as well that use this particular exchange. So, and I suspect that this will continue to accelerate as, you know, politicians lose their control of money, their monopoly on money, and they want to keep people using the money. This is a theory that was talked about in the book, The Sovereign Individual, which we've referenced so many times on this show. I think more and more people are going to realize very quickly that, you know, they're just Bitcoin's better money. If people have a choice to use a money that doesn't decrease in purchasing power over time, actually increases in purchasing power over time, is censorship resistant, no one controls the monetary policy, that's a one-way door. Once you become a Bitcoiner, you just don't go back to fiat, right? It's a one-way door, right? So I think what governments are going to try to do, the more desperate they become, as more and more people opt out, is they're going to try to close those doors as much as humanly possible. We saw that in Argentina when Argentina received the bailout from the IMF. Part of the conditions of that bailout was for the Argentinian government to de-incentivize the adoption of Bitcoin in Argentina. Clearly, the established players, they fear this thing. To use Christine Lagarde's own words, they fear the escape valve. And that's exactly what Bitcoin is. All right, everybody, no more delay. Let me bring my legendary co-host up on stage. He's always optimistic. I saw a picture of two of your exes. I think we're going to talk about it during the meme review of Christine Lagarde and Janet Yellen together. I would bet like a whole coin that they were just talking shit about you the entire time. They weren't talking about money. They weren't talking about economics or nothing. They were just like, Opti,
Nico,
like,
get some help. Get some help.
like Opti, like, wow, like we got to roll out the CBDCs just to spite this guy. He broke our hearts, man.
Well, you know, to be fair, they're probably not the only girls that are just talking smack about little old Opti. But hey, that's neither here nor there, Nico. But I'm really glad we are doing a deeper dive on this Fidelity report, because I really do feel that this is a very important paper. We were talking about it in our Slack with some of our other team members, and it really does feel like it's just written by some Bitcoin maxi. Like it feels like it's written by like Pierre Rochard or VJ Boyapati, or like all the written works that we've been talking about. And it has the stamp of Fidelity on it. And I say it all the time, as much as we don't really believe in like the authority fallacy, the majority of people still kind of believe in that idea. Like, oh, it's coming from an established institution. Like this probably carries more weight than the stuff we talk about, even though we've been talking about the same thing. And we always have the same talking points. It's absolutely a monster report. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's coming out at the very tail end of a bear market, guys. So the Bitcoin signal is spreading. More people are waking up to what we know to be the truth. Bitcoin is the best money in the digital world, and everyone needs to hold some of it, especially considering how crazy the world is getting right now. And it seems like the masses, the normies are losing their mind. I don't know if you guys have been following along on Twitter, but everyone's losing their mind right now. And it's kind of going into what I'm going to say in the culture. We kind of talked about it yesterday with Dell, and it's like, what can we really do right now as individuals? And it's really the only thing you can do is opt out of this madness, save in Bitcoin, make sure that you're physically fit, mentally fit, make sure you're spreading the Bitcoin signal, make sure your friends and family are downloading Bitcoin wallets, taking the best step forward, and really focusing on yourself right now, because we've been telling you all bear market the same thing. Get your cold storage set up, dialed in, run a node, make sure your UTXOs are nice and orderly. Like, make sure you are in a good position right now, because it is more important than ever that you guys are mentally and physically strong right now, and you know where the world is going. And of course, we know where it's going. It's going to the Bitcoin standard. So it's only going to get rockier before it gets better, but you're already on the safety book, guys. You're already on the escape valve. So it's just, I feel good. Even though the world's going crazy, I feel great. I'm over here chilling with my family, enjoying life. I was hanging out at the beach yesterday. It was nice, man. Life's good, and everyone's losing their mind. I don't get it, man. We need more people finding Bitcoin Zen, I guess, is where we're headed towards. But I don't know, Nico. I've rambled enough. Let's get on to the show.
Yeah, man. And no, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is some crazy times, but very opportunistic times as well. So don't sell your Bitcoin to BlackRock or Fidelity, because they definitely want your sats. All right, everybody, let's jump into the numbers.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. All right, guys, I made it super easy for you guys. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Stamp Seed website, or you can get yourself a titanium seed plate. You could punch in your seed phrase on there. It's not going to go anywhere. You won't have to explain to your grandchildren why you lost your Bitcoin. Definitely store your generational wealth on titanium, not paper. You can use promo code SIMPLY to get anything off, get 15% off anything on the Stamp Seed store. All right, everybody, at the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 26,700 sats per dollar, 3,745. Block height, 811,877. Blocks to halving, 28,123. Halving estimate, April 21st, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 5,202. Capacity value, 138 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation, 1.74%. The market capitalization of Bitcoin, $521 billion with a B. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 4.12%. When the Bitcoin market cap reaches the market cap of gold, that would make it $500,000 per coin. I think we're going to get there a lot quicker than people think, just because Bitcoin is superior money. Anyways, check out this video from our friend over at TFTC. Shout out Marty Bent. And he had this very interesting video that I ran into and I thought was really, really interesting. Here's a quote before I played you guys the video. I'm assuming a quote from the video. It says, "Think of money as just another commodity. If you have a monopoly on a commodity that everyone needs, everyone wants, and nobody has enough of, there are lots of ways to make a profit and also exert tremendous political influence. That is what this battle is all about." And this goes to a tweet that I had pinned. I think I have pinned still to the top of my profile, to the top of my handle, my Twitter handle or my X handle, whatever you're, X, they call it X.com these days. No one should have the ability to create money for free that another human being has to work for. And the call to action for you guys, you sovereign individuals, you free individuals, is refuse to work for money that another man can create for free. If enough people believe that, if enough people follow that philosophy, we will make real change. But it takes agency, it takes action, it takes you, it takes each individual to truly opt out of this political money bullshit. All right, everybody, let's play the video and then we'll talk about it.
Than the president, the Congress, and the courts. Now, a lot of people challenge me on that, but let me prove my case. The Federal Reserve determines what the average person's car payment is going to be.
Oh,
Powerful than the President, the Congress, and the courts. Now, a lot of people challenge me on that, but let me prove my case. The Federal Reserve determines what the average person's car payment is going to be, what their house payment is going to be, and whether they have a job or not. And I submit to you that that's total control. And the Federal Reserve is the largest single creditor of the United States government. What does Proverbs tell us? The borrower is servant to the lender.
What one has to understand is that from the day the Constitution was adopted right up to today, the folks who profit from privately owned central banks, as Madison called them, the money changers, have fought a running battle for control over who gets to print America's money. Why is who prints the money so important? Think of money as just another commodity. If you have a monopoly on a commodity that everyone needs, everyone wants, and nobody has enough of, there are lots of ways to make a profit, and also exert tremendous political influence. That's what this battle is all about. Throughout the history of the United States, the money power has gone back and forth between Congress and some sort of privately owned central bank. The Founding Fathers knew the evils of a privately owned central bank. First of all, they had seen how the privately owned British central bank, the Bank of England, had run up the British national debt to such an extent that Parliament had been forced to place unfair taxes on the American colonies. In fact, as we'll see later, Ben Franklin claimed that this was the real cause of the American Revolution. Most of the Founding Fathers realized the potential dangers of banking and feared bankers' accumulation of wealth and power. Jefferson put it this way:
I sincerely believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. The issuing power should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs.
That succinct statement of Jefferson is, in fact, the solution to all our economic problems today. It bears repeating. The issuing power should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs. James Madison, the main author of the Constitution, agreed. Interestingly, he called those behind the central bank scheme money changers. Madison strongly criticized their actions.
History records that the money changers have used every form of abuse, intrigue, deceit, and violent means possible to maintain their control over governments by controlling money and its issuance.
The battle over who gets to issue our money has been the pivotal issue throughout the history of the United States. Wars are fought over it, depressions are caused to acquire it. Yet after World War I, this battle was rarely mentioned in newspapers or history books. Why? By World War I, the money changers, with their dominant wealth, had seized control of most of the nation's press.
And I mean, like, other than the fact that it felt like a, one of those videos that you watched in high school and middle school that teachers would make you sit through, it's crazy because you could tell that this video was pretty old, right? But things have gotten worse since they made this video, right? I'm sure that this video wasn't exactly, so popular when it was released. But think about the last statement that he said about since World War I, so around World War I's like 1918, right? The Federal Reserve and the federal income tax, I might add, were established in 1913. But think about the last thing he said about the control of the media. And then connect that with what Nayib Bukele said in Don't Drink the Elite's Kool-Aid, where he said that their most important weapon is their control on truth. And they'll do everything and anything to keep that control. Print, censor, confiscate, etc., etc., etc. So he who has the ability to control money for free that everyone else has to work for is all powerful. And I think that's really, really the root cause of a lot of the world's issues today. The political divisions, the the hostility in the United States right now. The country is completely divided. And we just have to remind everyone as Bitcoiners, it is not a left or right issue, because regardless of what political party you vote into power, whether it's Democrat or Republican, they both do the same. They print money. And every time they print money, it's a wealth redistribution mechanism from the lower and middle classes that don't have the means to save in assets back to the very, very wealthy and back to the government. So that's saying the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, which a lot of people blame capitalism for. I would make the argument that we don't live in a capitalistic society. I truly believe that we live in a centrally planned society right now. And I think that it will always be centrally planned as long as the Federal Reserve, as long as a central bank exists. Now, the awesome part for all of us as individuals is now we have the tools to break free from those shackles. And that tool is Bitcoin. That tool is the internet. The internet has empowered us to communicate directly with each other millions of miles away. It's empowered individuals to grow their own media platforms, their own followings out of the grasps of the government, out of the grasps of these powerful institutions. So their ability to control the narrative is greatly diminished. And what is happening at the same time is is money. You as an individual have the ability to opt out of political money and opt into the money that you would prefer, right? You know, some people still like gold bars for whatever reason, and that's cool. I like gold bars. I like holding them in my hand. They feel nice. But would I rather hold a gold bar than, you know, some Bitcoin in self-custody? I would obviously want to hold some Bitcoin. So yeah, these are crazy times. And, you know, but shout out to these people that really made these videos and really identified the problems, because we wouldn't be here today. We would have a lot more work to do in identifying these problems. If it wasn't for the work of these people that put the video together, if it wasn't for the work of Ron Paul, if it wasn't for the work of G. Edward Griffin that wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island. And look, some of the founding fathers, they weren't necessarily fans of central banking either, right? They kind of knew, you know, 150, 200 years ago, what the F was going to happen if, you know, if a central bank was instituted. Look, this might not matter to you, you know, if, you know, you're part of the older generation and you had the opportunity to buy, you know, housing at some affordable pricing. But if you are under the age of 35 right now, how things are currently structured, you will not own anything. And their own propaganda is telling you you'll own nothing and be happy, right? So Bitcoin is a peaceful revolution. Bitcoin is the protest against that. Bitcoin is basically saying, yeah, by 2030, I'm going to own Bitcoin and I'm going to be happy, instead of saying I'll own nothing and I'm going to be happy. And they never tell you. So if you don't own anything, who owns everything, right? The cantillionaires, of course, right? Anyways, dude, it is a great video. I did feel it did kind of take me back in time to middle school and high school when the teacher like played a video in class. That's kind of like the vibes that video gave me. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Opti?
Yeah, well, I have PTSD about sitting back in a classroom right now and watching a television that was absolutely boring. But that's besides the point. I didn't like school much until after I graduated. Then I learned how to learn. Anyways, that's a totally other topic. To the topic of today's show, or of this numbers. It's all about the money, guys. It's always been about the money. We say this every single day, and the main political topic has always been the control of money. That's the main issue. So do not fall for the divide and conquer techniques from the left, from the right. It doesn't matter. It's all noise. It's all distractions. We say it all the time. It is orange versus green. The monopoly on money is the main issue, guys. The control of the money is total control. They even said in that video. And it's kind of crazy to me, to be honest. And while we were watching this video, it kind of hit me. It's like, it's crazy to me that this topic has seems so new to a lot of us. It seems so novel, like this idea of like, oh, the money printer. Remember when you read The Creature from Jekyll Island for the first time, or you understood about the Federal Reserve, or you understood about money printing and how it's literally creating paper money out of thin air? And it seems like it's something new. Like it seems like a very profound revelation of the world. And it's something that people have been talking about for so long. Like it's the problem's been known, and yet most people still don't get it. Most people still don't understand what's going on in the world. Control of the money is the issue. Money affects every single one of us. It's 1/2 of every transaction. And if you're giving that control over to someone that most likely, even being kind of charitable, doesn't have your best interests in mind. Everyone is self-interested. And if you had the control of money, like I say it all the time, you know, I like to think of myself as a good person, but I understand if you gave me control of all the money, after a certain amount of years, I'm probably going to use some of it here or there if I'm struggling, if I want some things done. It's just like, it's human nature. It's easily corruptible. Hence why Satoshi used algorithms, you know, encryption to take that control out of human hands. And again, I say it all the time, and you guys probably think I'm being like hyperbolic and stuff, but the problem has been known for so long. Like we know what the problem is, guys. It is the control of money, and a small cabal of people controlling the money is why we are in such a just crazy time right now. And we didn't have a solution until 2009. We didn't have a solution until Bitcoin. And obviously, we know that the solution is simply Bitcoin. Of course, there's a lot of stuff going on in society that just putting good money in is not going to fix everything per se, but it does start with the money. And once you align the incentives of a good money with society, and more people are acting towards their own benefit and not getting their wealth siphoned away, things will start to ripple out. It'll iron itself out. People will start to work, be more productive, save in value, build things. Because right now we're all being stolen from. And Nico touched on something that literally gets us going all the time, whether we're on air or off air. As millennials, as Zoomers, and even some Gen Xers, we're the poorest generations ever. Like, I don't mean to be an ageist or a classist or whatever, but like the boomers, those boomers that are in control, stole our future. And if that doesn't get you pissed off, like, I don't know what is. Like, if
not all boomers, by the way.
I said that. I'm trying to be clear, because I know we do have some boomers that listen to us and that are our friends.
We love you, and we love
you. You guys are part of the battle. But for the most part, you know, just being generic here, our future was stolen from us because, what do they always say, Nico? Debt is money we owe ourselves. Well, yeah, you're just stealing the value from your children so that you can fund your lifestyle. Like, it really blows my mind that this is the status quo, that people don't understand that this is the case right now. And Nico and I try to talk about this all the time, and you know, people always yell at us like, oh, you guys are getting political, whatever. But like, guys, it's always been about the money. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. Everyone wants to print money, whether it's printing money to help people or printing money to fund wars. It's still the same thing. They want to print money and make you poorer. Like, it's such a simple concept to me that it blows my mind that we have to constantly beat this idea through people's heads. The control of the money is the main issue, guys. Don't get it twisted. This is why we have all opted out. This is why we are all Bitcoiners. This is why we are using a money that cannot be debased, censorship resistant, because it's always been about the money, guys. And we didn't have a solution until 2009.
100%. Guys, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Bitcoin 2024. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference ever in the world. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. It's not going to be in Miami this year. It's July 25th through the 27th, 2024, the year of the halving. You definitely don't want to miss it. You want to get your tickets quickly before the prices go up. For a GA, you can get it for $349. For an industry pass, Bitcoin 2024, you can get it for $849. For a whale pass, you can get it for $4,749. You definitely don't want to miss the biggest Bitcoin celebration of the year. Opti and I are going to be there. You definitely don't want to miss Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee. All right, guys, let's get to the news. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's check it out.
the daily news.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air gap security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. All right, everybody. I made it extremely freaking easy for you guys. All you got to do is scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Foundation Devices website where you can purchase your own Passport hardware wallet. Remember, guys, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. So definitely take self-custody. Trust no one but yourself. All right, everybody. So this is pretty big news. I touched upon it in the opening monologue a bit. Here's the Chad Saylor himself. Remember, when Michael Saylor says something, it's very similar to when Nayib Bukele says something about Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because Michael Saylor is the figurehead of Bitcoin institutional adoption. What am I talking about? Why am I saying that? Well, not to mention the fact that MicroStrategy, I think, has like 160,000 Bitcoins last time I checked. But put that aside, what Michael Saylor is proving over the last couple of years, and I think the next cycle, it's going to be an undeniable fact, is that putting Bitcoin on his balance sheet, on the MicroStrategy balance sheet, is a viable alternative than holding fiat. In fact, not only is it a viable alternative, it's a better alternative than holding fiat. And the awesome part about free markets and capitalism, the awesome part about this is that however which way you feel about, Bitcoin, right? You just said, I don't like it, right? If your competitor starts doing better than you are because they're doing a specific thing, they're following a specific strategy, you have no choice but to follow that strategy as well. Which is kind of funny because the name of the company is MicroStrategy. But you just look back in time, right? When PayPal announced that they are going to allow Bitcoin purchases within their app, do you think PayPal wanted to do that? No. They're getting crushed by a competitor. They're getting crushed by Cash App. So it's like, okay, we got to enable Bitcoin purchases on our platform. Do you think that they wanted to enable withdrawals? No, they didn't want to enable withdrawals, but they had no choice because their competitor had withdrawals. Do you think Robinhood wanted to enable Bitcoin withdrawals? No, of course not. They want to keep people within Robinhood, but they had no choice to enable withdrawals. And it's funny because when they made this announcement, they actually made this announcement at Bitcoin 2022. They made a whole thing about it. We're going to enable withdrawals. So market forces are beautiful. And I think that over time, it's going to show, and it has shown, that Michael Saylor's strategy with MicroStrategy is a superior strategy than holding fiat. So this is what he said about the Fidelity report. This is a tweet from the Chad himself. He says, Fidelity Digital Assets explains why Bitcoin is a unique and superior form of money that investors should consider first and separate from all other digital assets. It isn't just Michael Saylor saying that. We have Fred Thiel. Fred Thiel is the CEO and chairman of Marathon, which is one of the largest publicly traded mining companies in the United States. And he says, Fidelity tells investors why they need to consider Bitcoin separately from other digital assets. He says that the key takeaway, Bitcoin is fundamentally different than any other digital asset. No other digital asset is likely to improve upon Bitcoin as a monetary good because Bitcoin is the most, relative to other digital assets, secure, decentralized, sound digital money, and any improvement will potentially face trade-offs. So let's move on to some of the report. We don't have time to get through all of it. I know Opti went through some of it yesterday, but we're going to give it a different angle. You guys know the deal. Bitcoin First revisited why investors need to consider Bitcoin separately from other digital assets. In the summary, it says, Bitcoin is best understood as a monetary good, and one of the primary investment theses for Bitcoin is as a store of value asset in an increasingly digital world. Bitcoin is fundamentally different from any other digital asset. No other digital asset is likely to improve upon Bitcoin as a monetary good because Bitcoin is the most, relative to other digital assets, secure, decentralized, sound digital money, and any improvement will potentially face trade-offs. I wouldn't even say potentially, it will face trade-offs. There's a very famous video of Adam Back saying that he spent 6 to 9 months trying to see how he could improve Bitcoin. And he came to the conclusion that any type of incremental improvement would come with a trade-off. And that trade-off a lot of the time would come with basically diminishing Bitcoin's decentralization. Remember, the fork wars were, there was a big part of the fork wars were, oh, we need bigger blocks. We need bigger blocks to scale. But what was not talked about was if you made the blocks bigger, it would require more resources for someone to run Bitcoin Core, for someone to run the Bitcoin software. More resources means more money, meaning it would increase the barrier to entry to running a node. Right now, realistically, you only need, I think it's like $200 to $300 to, purchase an old computer, use it as a node. I recommend the Start 9. That's what I run myself, the Start 9 Pure. It's absolutely beautiful. But the point is that the blocks stayed the same. And because the blocks stayed the same size, that made the barrier to entry lower. And because the barrier to entry is lower, that means more people were able to run nodes. And because more people were able to run nodes, that means that the network is more decentralized. So it goes on to say there is not necessarily mutually exclusivity between the success of the Bitcoin network and all other digital assets. Rather, the rest of the digital asset ecosystem can fulfill different needs or solve other problems that Bitcoin simply does not. Other non-Bitcoin projects should be evaluated from a different perspective than Bitcoin. Bitcoin should be considered an entry point for traditional allocators looking to gain exposure to digital assets. Investors should hold two distinctively separate frameworks for considering investment in this digital asset ecosystem. The first framework examines the inclusion of Bitcoin as an emerging monetary good, and the second considers the addition of other digital assets that exhibit venture capital-like properties. It's a very strong statement. Venture capital-like properties. So the early investors get very, very rich at the expense of the later investors. Anyways, moving on, there's this great Watcher Guru article that summarizes even more. It goes on to say, Bitcoin blazed a trail for numerous assets to enter the space. While some chose to follow in Bitcoin's footsteps, others aimed to rectify its limitations. Nevertheless, none have succeeded in surpassing the dominance of the leading cryptocurrency. Fidelity, a renowned asset manager overseeing $4.5 trillion, affirms that Bitcoin retains its position as the most secure and decentralized crypto when compared to its counterparts. It goes on to say, Fidelity's digital assets report further elucidated that even after a year and a half has passed, Bitcoin consistently expands its adoption and market presence within the digital asset arena. However, other digital assets encounter their own unique set of obstacles. It goes on to say, as seen in the report, Bitcoin emerges as the leading choice within the world of digital assets. Bitcoin as a pioneer in digital finance. First and foremost, Fidelity underscores that BTC is most appropriately viewed as a form of digital currency. Its primary investment premise is rooted in its role as a store of value within our increasingly digital-centric world. In an age dominated by digital transactions, Bitcoin's position as a secure repository of wealth takes on paramount importance. Inherent distinction. Secondly, Bitcoin possesses fundamental differences that set it apart from other digital assets. Fidelity asserts that no other digital asset is likely to surpass Bitcoin as a form of digital currency. Its reputation as the most secure digital currency, combined with its decentralization and robustness, renders it unparalleled. We have to understand who is saying that, because we've heard that rhetoric. Maybe it's not as elegant as was said just now, but we've heard that we've heard that rhetoric from Opti. We've heard that rhetoric from me. We've heard that rhetoric from Bitcoin Twitter, Bitcoin X, I guess it's called now. But we have to understand where it's coming from. Who is saying this? This is a company that has $4.5 trillion under management. This is a company that has been mining Bitcoin since 2014. This is a company that has followed BlackRock. I think they were first, actually, that has applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF. So when this type of company, it was founded in 1946. It's been around for a minute. It's been around since before Richard Nixon took the US off the gold standard. When a company like Fidelity says stuff like this, they're not fucking around. It is not just making a meme. It's not just like, oh, Bitcoin, not crypto, and all the rhetoric that we use on Bitcoin Twitter. No. They mean business. And what they have said in this report is that Bitcoin is fundamentally different, that Bitcoin is unlikely to be surpassed because of its robustness, because of its decentralization. That is a big deal. That is a massive deal. We had a narrative in 2018, and that narrative was the institutions are coming. That was the coping mechanism that we used as the price of Bitcoin fell from 20K, and I think it bottomed down at like 3.5K. And that narrative is the institutions are coming, the institutions are coming, the institutions are coming. The institutions are here. That report proves it. That report shows it. The BlackRock spot ETF, the Fidelity spot Bitcoin ETF, the Franklin Templeton spot Bitcoin ETF proves to you that not only are the institutions coming, but the institutions are tremendously interested in Bitcoin because it is a superior money. Forget about digital assets. It is a superior money, period. It has the best incentive structure compared to everything else. Full stop. So this is $4.5 trillion assets under management. Imagine if just a small percentage of that goes into Bitcoin. Remember, the market cap of Bitcoin is 500 billion. Bitcoin dwarfs the market cap of Fidelity. And if you're talking about BlackRock as well, BlackRock's market cap is 8.5 trillion with a T. And they announced that they're interested in launching a spot Bitcoin ETF. Not only that, Larry Fink, who hated Bitcoin 3 or 4 years ago, said that Bitcoin was only used for money laundering, went on CNBC, we played you guys the clip when it happened, saying that Bitcoin is the future. It is so useful for transactions. It's the future of money. Paraphrasing, but you guys get the point. And of course, Franklin Templeton announced not too long ago also that they wanted to launch a BlackRock spot, a spot Bitcoin ETF. You guys get where I'm going with this. 1.53 plus 8.5 plus another 4. It's like what is that? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 trillion dollars. Assets under management, if you combine all these companies, and all these companies are salivating at getting involved. BlackRock is the largest holder of publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies. Do you think that's a coincidence? You think all of this is a coincidence? You think that all these people are doing it out of the goodness of their heart? No, they cannot resist Bitcoin's incentives. I tweeted this out the other day. Bitcoin is going to win because it has superior incentives. Fiat, what is the fiat money incentive? The fiat money incentive is, if you don't use our money, I will put you in jail. That's the incentive that they have. Violence, monopoly on violence, laws, legal tender laws. That's what they have. They're forcing you to use something that you would normally not use if you had a choice. Bitcoin, people are choosing to use it willingly. Why? Because it's better money. You could send it anywhere, pennies on the dollar. It increases in purchasing power over time. There's a cap supply. Nobody can change that. If someone wants to create more Bitcoin, they have to get in line like everybody else. They have to invest in the mining infrastructure. They have to get the energy. They have to buy it. They have to earn it. They have to mine it. And that protects everyone else's purchasing power. In fact, it levels the playing field between the pleb, the person who owns 0.0001 Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor. You're equal. You're equal to him. If he wants to buy Bitcoin, he has to get in line like everybody else. Michael Saylor is currently paying his dues. He's down right now. I think the average price for his Bitcoin acquisition is $29,000. He's going through what Opti and I went through in 2017, 2018. He's paying his price of tuition just like everybody else. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. And nothing else could offer that. Everything else has seniorage. Everything else has privileges. If you're part of a privileged few, you get a better deal. Bitcoin is different. And that's crazy. That's, an institution like fucking Fidelity is, saying stuff like that. So, Rope's trolling us in the chat. By the way, if you guys want Opti's hoodie, shameless plug, make sure to get the Simply Bitcoin merch. You can scan the QR code on your screen. You can go in the video description. Opti, model it, bro. Get up, do some twirls.
No. I've done enough.
Christine Lagarde is watching the stream right now. So if you guys want to help support the show, it really, really does help us stay on air. Get yourself some Simply Bitcoin merch. Opti is wearing the Simply Bitcoin hoodie. You can also get the Simply Bitcoin t-shirt. It really, really does help with the show. And we appreciate you guys. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this, brother? I know you covered this yesterday. I hope I covered it a little bit differently.
Yeah, no, you did a great job. My take on this is I really do believe that this article is extremely important. I know as a Bitcoiner, if you, like I told you guys in the chat, everyone, to read the article yourself. If you read the article and you got through it, it is a little long, but I think it's a great piece because it's not anything new that you've never heard as a Bitcoiner. I'm sure we've pieced this information together from like the Pierre Rochards, the Vijay Boyapati, all of the great Bitcoin content creators out there that are writing all this good stuff that got us to this point. And as much as I try to avoid like the authority fallacy where it's like, oh, because it's coming from the experts, you got to trust them. It really does read like a Bitcoin maxi paper, and it's coming from an asset manager with trillions of dollars under their control. Of course, at the very bottom, if you read the fine print, it says this is coming from the authors, not necessarily Fidelity, the legal statements that are normal. But I really do think that if you sent this paper to your friends or family, especially someone that is like on the edge, you know, they kind of know what you're saying, you know, they listen to your Bitcoin pitch and they're kind of like, yeah, you're making a lot of sense, but like, I don't trust you because whatever, you're my friend, you're my stupid nephew. Like, I get it. You love this Bitcoin stuff. Quit talking to me about it. You've been doing this for 5 Thanksgivings now, and I'm tired of you ranting at me, and I'm tired of you celebrating when the Bitcoin price was pumping. Now it's coming from what is seemingly an objective source. You know, someone that's not necessarily a Bitcoiner, like they only have one idea in mind, and that is, of course, to provide value to their investors. And this is a great report. I think it's one of those ideas that we say to you guys constantly. It's the idea that once you know the Bitcoin fundamentals, then you can move forward and look through the world through the lens of Bitcoin. And that's why we always double down on the Bitcoin fundamentals and really always paint everything as orange versus green. And yes, you know, we always hip you guys to our friends that are getting a little more technical. And if you want to get into the weeds, we can always lead you to that direction. But it's really about understanding the Bitcoin fundamentals. And if you read this paper, read it top to bottom, maybe read it multiple times if you've never read this before, because it's telling you the exact thesis that we've been saying on the show. This is the stuff that got us involved in Bitcoin. This is the stuff that got us obsessed with Bitcoin. This paper is the signal that is showing the rest of the world that, oh my goodness, there is something amazing and revolutionary happening in the quote unquote crypto space, but it's not cryptocurrencies at large. It is Bitcoin. And this is why we always double down on it. Bitcoin, not shitcoin, because all roads lead to Bitcoin. And now something we've been saying on the show, and we've been constantly covering it throughout this year, it's the idea that Bitcoin has crossed that Rubicon into the mainstream consciousness. It's always being talked about on corporate press. You're seeing, you know, television hosts talking smack about Bitcoin, and you're seeing the investment houses, the institutions starting to embrace Bitcoin. And so it really does feel like we have amazing tailwinds going into the halving, which will basically explode going into the inevitable bull run. And it really does seem like we are in a perfect storm of just getting some absolutely beautiful green candles coming up in the next year and a half. And so this is why we keep telling you guys to get your ducks in a row. Make sure you are stacking. Make sure you're not taking your foot off the gas. Make sure you're running a node. Make sure you're taking your Bitcoin off the exchanges. You're protecting yourself because they want your Bitcoin, guys. And you need to be holding on to that Bitcoin. You need to understand what you're holding. I say it all the time. The Bitcoin price is a real-time metric of people's understanding of Bitcoin. And as you can see, and we constantly cover on the show, more and more people are waking up to Bitcoin. And not just average individual with average means. High net worth individuals want your Bitcoin. And I don't know if you know, but there's not that much Bitcoin to go around. I think I saw a metric, and someone correct me in the chat. There's only like 1 million or so Bitcoin on exchanges right now. So you got to make it through the HODL buyout zone because they are coming for your Bitcoin, and the price will start to get crazy. We know, especially us that have been here for a couple cycles, the bull runs get super frothy, guys, and everyone loses their mind in the FOMO manic craze of this cycle. And now you're not just trading against unsophisticated retail investors, as they call it. You're trading against some of the biggest, smartest asset managers in the world. So don't trade. Just hodl that Bitcoin. Take it into cold storage. This is the way, because people are starting to wake up to the value proposition of Bitcoin. People are starting to see the cracks in the system that we constantly talk about. So I really do think that this is one of those important defining papers that you should be sending to your friends and family. We will be talking about this paper probably for a long time on this show. We'll constantly come back to it, and it'll constantly be a source of information because it does have that weight of Fidelity behind it, and not just like a Bitcoin Twitter user, a Bitcoin anon Twitter that makes a succinct point. But it does seem like Fidelity is bullish on Bitcoin. There's a bunch of maxis. I think someone told me in the chat that the CEO is fully orange pilled. So guys, we are winning. Our narrative is winning. We are right. Continue to double down on the fundamentals. Continue to refresh yourself on the fundamentals, and then spread the message to more and more people. This is the way.
Yeah, man. Amen. They don't call you Saint Opti for no reason. That was some Saint Opti fire. You're gonna keep referencing this article?
I probably will. What's the title again? Bitcoin First Revisited. Why Bitcoin is head and tails above other digital assets.
Could you tattoo that on your chest?
I don't do tattoos.
But you got to do it for the culture.
I don't care about the culture.
All right, guys, before we move on to the culture, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Kaboom Racks. If you guys are trying to get yourself a Bitcoin miner, you don't have to look. You don't have to look any longer. The best place to buy yourself a Bitcoin miner is Kaboom Racks. That's where you're going to get the top deals, the best prices, repair and hosting services all in one place. Get started with the link down in the video description, or I made it easy for you guys. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now, and it will take you directly to the Kaboom Racks Telegram marketplace. Launch your mining journey with Kaboom Racks today. Also, the Kaboom Racks guys will be happy to answer any questions you guys might have about getting yourself a Bitcoin ASIC. Anyways, everybody, let's jump into the culture. Let's do it.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today.
All right, guys. I do have tweets here, but I kind of want to give a little preface here. You know, this last week's been pretty crazy. If you guys are on social media or even watching corporate television, you've noticed that things are getting crazy. And, you know, I was talking to everyone at Pacific Bitcoin, and a trend kept coming around, and everyone's like, man, I really love what you guys are doing on not only the show, but the culture and helping us kind of get through this crazy times. And you know me, I always talk about this same idea of Bitcoin Zen, of once you start to hodl, once you look through the world through a Bitcoin lens, a lot of the noise starts to dissipate, and you can start to relax and you start to live a better life. And so this last week, I've been kind of really thinking about like, what can we do as individuals right now? What is the best course of action right now, considering that you're getting pulled on both sides, you should have an opinion on everything. And I'm kind of over here just like focusing on Bitcoin constantly. And I'm just like, man, almost feeling guilty that like I feel so good right now in this moment. And I'm just wondering, like, what can we do as individuals, right? And of course, this is a Bitcoin show. So of course, it's always going to go back to the same things I always constantly talk about. And so I'm going to start it off with this meme. This is an old meme. You can see here, I'm quote tweeting myself from another account. And it goes, the longer you hodl, the less you give AF, hashtag Bitcoin. And then Wine quote tweeted on top of him, it goes, Bitcoin Zen. Wine. And I really do feel Bitcoin Zen at this moment. And the reason I feel this is because I've said it so many times on the show this week, like Bitcoin is our stable coin. Bitcoin is stability. It's the fiat world that is fluctuating. It's the fiat world that is going down. But us Bitcoiners are building. We're having a good time. And look at the mempool. Like blocks are coming in, guys. TikTok next block. Bitcoin is working exactly as designed. And I kind of had a meditation here this morning. I was just looking at mempool space. I absolutely think this is beautiful. And look at the blocks, man. It's just a steady stream of blocks. Bitcoin's stable. Bitcoin is working. I don't have to have these emotional fluctuations about every single thing going on in the world. I just focus on what I can do. And I saw this tweet by Hodl, and it's something I say all the time. I talk about this constantly in spaces. I talk about it constantly on the show. And the only reason I talk about this is because this is the stuff that gets me the most excited. I'm really enthralled with the psychological behavioral aspects of Bitcoin, of how you don't change Bitcoin, it changes you. And the longer you hodl, the more you change and the more you try to level up. And Hodl put it in a tweet and he goes, at some point you have to lean into Bitcoin making you the best version of yourself. You can't just continue existing as the old shitty you plus Bitcoin. It doesn't work. There's too much dissonance. And again, shouts out to Darth Coin. Oops. he always hits us in the chat, always trying to course correct us. And he always says, like, be careful about saying who's a Bitcoiner. And so I'm only going to touch on this a little bit. He's got a solid meme here and goes, who's a Bitcoiner? A Bitcoiner you must be. If you want freedom, if you want peace, if you want a better world, if you want privacy, if you want progress, if you want to store energy, be sovereign, be fearless, be wise, be cautious, be a learner, be a questioner, be a saver, a hodler, be innovative, be helpful, be a pathfinder, be a toxic psychopath. Of course, it's a little poetic. And I realize right now that once you find yourself in the situations that we currently are finding ourselves in, and the world's going crazy, I don't know if you have normie friends anymore, but I'm sure your normie friends are, being very divisive. They're telling you to pick a side. And we're over here like, hey, guys, like, we have a better world. We have a better strategy here. Just protect yourself. Focus on what you can. And what is that? I leaned into a meme at the beginning of this year. It's the idea of, like, what should I do next? And it's summed up by the idea that just take the next best step. And I constantly tell you guys to get fit physically, get fit mentally, get fit spiritually, like, focus on what you can control. Eat good, get outside, get some sun, get your body moving, focus on the good things in life, guys. And we have Bitcoin. It's so much easier to focus on the good in life when you are building a parallel system that literally not only benefits you, but will benefit everyone. We have purpose on the Bitcoin standard. And I think it's never been more important than to spread the positive signal that is Bitcoin. Like, don't let your energy get siphoned off right now by all the fear mongering. Focus on the good in life. Focus on stacking, on providing value, on being on the Bitcoin standard and spreading that to more people. Like, help onboard people to Bitcoin wallets. Plant the seeds of freedom. Don't get caught in the mania, guys. And on this point, again, I always quote tweet Beauty on because I really think he's got some wisdom here. He's quote tweeting this tweet here by Big Brother Watch, and it's about UK CBDCs. And the TLDR of the tweet is basically like, just say no to it, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to link that into what we're saying right here. Look, Beauty on says, taking action by saying no will not change a thing. The correct action to take is the mass adoption of Bitcoin, which is what Big Brother Watch should be promoting, not sitting on your hands and doing nothing. With Bitcoin in everyone's hands, no one controls the purse strings but you. And as we constantly show on the show, and we showed it in the numbers, guys, it's always been about the money. It will always be about the money until you take that power away, until you opt out of the madness, until you spread the adoption of Bitcoin, until you get Bitcoin into more people's hands and billions of people are downloading Bitcoin wallets. That's the most important thing to be doing. And I know here we are talking heads. This is a entertainment news channel here where we constantly shill Bitcoin to anyone that will listen. And so I do my best to try to inspire you guys to download wallets, to get your friends to download wallets, because look, the world is going mad. And all you can do is focus on what you can control. And what you can control is saving in the hardest money period, the hardest asset period, something that will take the control back to yourself. And I saw Michael Krieger post this morning, and it really hit me hard because this is where we are, guys. Like, Michael Krieger, aka at Liberty Blitz, goes, one rule I've established that has never failed is if governments or media are trying to whip you into a frenzy, don't let them whip you into a frenzy. The entire purpose of government is to direct your valuable energy towards its own ends. The reason I bring this up is because I think it's never been more important than now is to direct your energy towards your own ends. What's that mean? Provide value, build businesses, save in Bitcoin, help your friends and family get onboarded to Bitcoin right now, because everything is going mad right now. Peak clown world, maybe not peak yet, but remember, and Spacebull sums this up perfectly. The work you are doing right now, being a Bitcoiner, no matter how big or small, is just so fucking important. Remember that. Getting people on the Bitcoin standard is the most important thing you can be doing. Spreading the Bitcoin signal, showing people that we know what the problem is. It is the money, stupid. And we have the solution now. And hey, you may not be ready to become a Bitcoiner yet, but Bitcoin is here for you. You need to save in Bitcoin. You need to opt out of this madness. If you do not believe in theft and killing people, then you need to be on the Bitcoin standard. Bitcoin is a peaceful revolution. We are separating money from state. And moving forward, this signal is going to spread far and wide, and more people are going to wake up to the lunacy that is the status quo right now. You have the opportunity to save yourself, and by saving yourself, you will save your friends and your family. And right now, I keep saying the same thing, and I'm probably a broken record right now. Right now, it's never been more important than to get yourself mentally prepared. You need that warrior mentality. You need to get yourself fit and strong mentally and physically, because as we move into the transition from the fiat world to the Bitcoin world, it's only going to get crazier. And if you can't focus your energy on the right things, you will get caught up in the mania. And we're seeing every single person right now get caught up in the mania. Everyone is losing their minds. But if you have found Bitcoin Zen, you have opted out of the madness, you've turned off the news, you are building stuff, whether that's your body or your business or your family. Like, we are the counterculture, guys. The counterculture now looks very similar to what it used to be in the past. Provide value, save, build a family, do things productively, eat good, get exercise. The things your grandma probably told you when you were growing up. We seem to have forgotten these simple lessons. Focus on yourself as much as possible, not in a selfish, arrogant way, in a way that is, it kind of comes from scripture. I'm pretty sure it's scripture. Like, let your cup overflow first before you think about helping other people. Guys, fix yourself first. And I think this is the most important message I can say to you guys right now, because everyone is losing their minds. And I've been asking myself, Nico, like, what can we do right now besides just fixing what you can in your life? It's kind of like the Jordan Peterson, like, make your bed, like, literally make your bed, like, do small things, and the small things add up into big things. So I don't know. It might seem a little, I don't know, naive, maybe. It might seem a little, I don't know, like woo-woo here, but like, the most important thing to be doing right now, guys, is focus on what you can control in your life and let everything else take care of itself. It's like the serenity prayer. Give me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think right now you need to just act with wisdom. Get your life in order, guys, and opt out of this madness. Like, I don't believe in hurting other people. I believe in principle and truth, and being a good person. And I think most of you agree with me. Well, opt out of this. Save in Bitcoin. Spread that signal to more people. Make sure more people are waking up to the freedom money. Make sure more people are waking up to the madness, and then get Bitcoin in their hands. Yes, Yellow. It is Opti Peterson. 100%. Make your bed. Do productive things, guys. Get outside. Denland, who's losing their minds? Dude, all of the average people that aren't Bitcoiners.
Dude, I mean, bro, hold on a second. Who's losing their mind? Dude, go on Twitter
Everyone.
for a second. It's like, it's people don't understand. Like, it's a frenzy, right? It's the current thing meme of like what do they call it? The Wojak, right? Where it's like the NPC meme guy, right? And then they're like replacing his chip with like the current thing. It's always the current thing. And that's not to diminish any of the atrocities that are happening, right? And I'm not even going to, that is such a hot topic that I'm not even going to chime into it. I'm not denying that horrible things are happening in the world, right? But the question for you is, what can you do about it, right? What can you do about it? I'm telling you, you want to make the world a better place, one thing at a time. Opt out of the system that funds the endless wars and opt into Bitcoin. And I truly believe that if you fix the base layer of society and you give people a fighting chance to make a living, no matter where they happen to be born in, I think the world's going to be a better place. Now, is that going to magically get rid of religious violence, or it's going to get rid of people wanting to kill each other because of their differences? I don't think so. But I think that it has a chance to reducing it by a long shot, because there's a meme that we have in Bitcoin. Bitcoin makes war unaffordable, right? And I truly believe this. I think most people, 99% of people, just want to get by. They just want to put food on the table for their families. They just want to feed their families. right? And I think Bitcoin is for them. It really is. Bitcoin's for everyone, truly, but Bitcoin protects them. It protects them from being forced to go along the ride of, this political madness. So yeah, in this crazy, crazy world with all these horrible things happening, I find serenity. I find peace. I find tranquility. I found my Bitcoin Zen, holding Bitcoin, taking self-custody of my Bitcoin. And I'm watching, looking the world. And I'm not denying that these things are horrible, right? Because we have to keep up with the news to do a good job on this show. So things that are happening are pretty bad, right? In multiple places around the world. I'm not denying that whatsoever. But my ask to you is, what can you do about it as an individual? You know what you could do? Defund the system, defund the war machine. And the way that you do it is you buy Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, and take that Bitcoin into self-custody, out of the hands of the monetary demons, out of the hands of the unproductive class, there's a parasite. What's the parasite one that you like to say? I forget.
Parasitic class.
Parasitic, is that
unproductive parasite class?
There we go. The monetary. I'm just gonna stick with monetary demons.
I like parasite class.
Anyways, we got a Saint Opti on Thursday coming in
it's
hot.
just like it. Look,
I
man,
feel you, dude. The thing is, I feel you 100%.
There's so much frustration, and you're like, what do we do?
You're like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And so you're looking at the videos, and you're like, holy fuck, that is pretty fucking crazy. But it's like, yeah, man, like. It's like, what can you do? Like, spread peace and love. And what better way to spread peace and love than like literally earning in a money that can't be debased, it can't be confiscated from you, it can't be stolen from you. I truly believe
it's the most important thing to be doing.
It really is. Like, people don't understand. Look, they said it in the very, very beginning. They mentioned World War I, right? The biggest world wars that have happened. What's that quote from Ron Paul? It's not a coincidence that the century of central banking is also the bloodiest century in human history. The money printer is what feeds the endless wars. You take away the money printer, there's no more funding to go to war. There's no more funding to kill each other. War is just destructive. And again, sometimes, like I'm sure this is going to be very unpopular with Bitcoiners. Sometimes you could say war is absolutely necessary, especially if you have to protect yourself. But the endless wars that we're seeing right now, there's no reasoning to them. Like, you can't reason like, oh, why am I doing this? Like, clearly it's to enrich a certain set of people. Anyways.
Well, hey, not to like take it lightly.
We definitely went hard in the culture segment today, bro. We went deep down that rabbit hole without saying anything specifically.
I mean, guys, look, again, not to be insensitive here, but it's no coincidence that there's another war that is probably in the depths of a recession. We know historically that war can get you out of recessions and depressions. And
no, they use war
exactly
when shit is really hitting the fan. Like,
yes,
the ruling class use war as an opt-out mechanism, right? Rather than dealing the riots in the streets with the guillotines coming out metaphorically, right? They take the country to war, right? That's what they do. And history has shown that when the country goes to war, it's like everyone comes together, right? And, they're supportive. It's like, yes, I'm going to stand up. But who loses? Who loses when countries go to war?
The average person, all of us.
The everyday person, right? So defund war, buy Bitcoin. That's our message in the culture segment, without getting into any of the specifics, because we know it's a very hot button issue. But yeah, it's horrible what's happening. I have empathy for it. It's really fucked up. It's extremely fucked up. But what can we do about it? I think Bitcoin fixes this. It's one of those things that Bitcoin really does fix everything, except for when the airlines lose my bags. I don't think Bitcoin fixes that. But anyways,
yes, it does. We need better airlines.
We need
better private airlines.
Better. All right, everybody, let's get to the memes.
Cheaper private airline.
The Daily Meme Review.
All right, guys.
That was nice. I like that.
I was thinking about exactly what to do today, and I don't know. I guess I had to get it off my chest and hopefully inspire some of you guys to focus on what you can. This is really what it means to be an individual versus the collectivist. It's trying not to fall into that groupthink, guys. Like, do what's best for yourself. Make sure your family's good. Make sure you're good. Make sure you're the best possible version of yourself, because Bitcoin changes you. You don't change Bitcoin. And once everyone does this, then things will start to get back to some kind of normalcy. I don't know if we'll ever see normalcy again in our lives. It's probably going to get even crazier. But anyways, this is the meme review, guys, where you send us memes on Twitter, tag me at simplybitcointv, or at my personal account at Optimus Fields, or drop them in our Telegram group, t.me/simplybitcointv. Shouts out to TK calling the calls of action in the Telegram group. Guys, give me the memes in the Telegram group. I look in there, but you guys have just a lively conversation and not enough memes in there. I need the tweets, guys. Anyways, tweets are the bullets, memes are the artillery. We are in an information war. As you can tell, people are getting caught up in the frenzy. Everyone's falling for the psyops. So continue to spread the signal. And shouts out to Space Bull. It's a Space Bull heavy show today. Shouts out to Madex. And this is a very simple message here. We don't want to fucking die in your war. This is why we stack Bitcoin. This is why we've opted out. It's madness. I do not want to partake in the madness. I do not want to partake in the fiat disease that takes over your mind, parasite class, siphoning off your energy and your value. I am done with it. Anyways, next meme is by Glocky or Cluckies. It goes, hashtag Bitcoin is unconfiscatable. And I love this one. Even Nico was talking about George Washington in the beginning. And, we got some red coats here, and it goes, I say, sir, hand over your Bitcoin. And we got the founding fathers with laser eyes and cold cards, and it goes, goeth and fuck yourself, or goeth and fucketh thyself. No, we have opted out of the fiat madness, guys. Use a money that they can't debase. It's very simple. You need to hold something. You might as well hold something that cannot be stolen from you. Anyways, next meme is by Maxie's Club, and it goes, 556, no. And we got the newbies out here watching the Bitcoin price go down, and they're like, no. We're getting poorer. What's going on? Is Bitcoin dead? And then the Bitcoiner that's been around for a while goes, thanks for the cheap sats. Weak hands. This is the way. Continue to stack sats. Always stack sats. Constantly stack sats. Always be buying Bitcoin. This is the way. All right, next one is by HODLCat21. And you know me, for the West Coast, I love NWA. So I really love this this reiteration of a classic album. And it goes BTC, straight out of fiat with some Bitcoin logos and some fiat or laser eyes. And I don't know what it says down here, but we'll see. Yeah, anyways. Straight out of fiat, this is me, watching the price go down and go sideways really hurts when you have no dry powder on the side. Anyways, the next one is by Max Kaiser. And this one, it really does feel like this, guys. We got a family here, some Bitcoiners with, husband and wife. And it goes, with Bitcoin, no one is coming to enslave you. We can live a good life here at Bitcoin Beach, El Salvador. And the wife goes, yes. And this is El Zante. Absolutely love it. Great time. It really feels like that, man. Being on the Bitcoin standard.
Dude, I haven't been, bro. I'm excited for the halving party, by the way.
Yeah.
Opti, we're gonna be there, right? We're gonna be at the halving party.
I sure hope so.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, we are. Unless something crazy happens, we've committed. We've already committed to Big Sean. We're going.
We'll save money and we'll share room or something. We'll share room. Like the good old times.
Now we're gonna get trolled. Sheesh. Okay, this next one.
Little Spoon and Big Spoon at PB?
I was the Big Spoon. Yeah. Chris isn't the Little Spoon very often, so he wanted some warmth. All right. Anyways, at MTCBTC on Twitter goes, Bitcoin is the decentralized alternative to fiat-fueled terrorism and war. Give keys a chance. And it's just the Bitcoin logo. A play on give peace a chance. Give keys a chance, guys. Opt out into a better money that cannot be stolen from you to fund wars. Bitcoin is freedom. Bitcoin is peace. This is the separation of money and state. Opt out of the madness. Build yourself a life that you can be proud of. And then this last one. Shout out to Darth Coin. He's trolling me. Yesterday.
Wait, have we not shown Chrissy and Yellen together?
No,
have we
not
not
yet.
shown the
Not yet.
picture?
Not yet.
Where
Anyways,
is it?
I don't know. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up right here. But we have Darth Coin here. We have Darth Coin here from the Telegram group, and he goes, guys, this is the real office from where Kenny is broadcasting live for SB Show. And you can see in the background, he's got BlockFi and Coinbase and Chrissy Lagarde over here. I'm getting trolled. This is a feature, not a bug. You troll Opti. It is what it is. It is what it is. Anyways, drop your meme review score in the chat, the other side of Nico, and we will cover ours live. In the meantime, are you looking for the meme? Is that going to be your meme review?
I can't find it. I can't find it. But no, that's not going to be my meme. My meme review score is my pass from Pacific Bitcoin. Ooh. By the way, guys, get your tickets to Pacific Bitcoin 2024. Get it right now because there's the early bird tickets. So you'll get your tickets very, very cheap. Go to pacificbitcoin.com, get your tickets. Anyways,
my meme review score is this lock key that is in my dad's office. Bitcoin is the key to freedom, peace, and prosperity.
Oof.
This is the way.
That deserves some bars and a malaka from Greg is a potato. All right, everybody. Please help us support the show. And the way that you could do that is buying our merch. Opti is modeling the classic Simply Bitcoin orange hoodie. It's high quality. It literally says Bitcoin or slavery in the stitching.
It's so bright too. You gotta.
You will not get lost. If you're in the snow, get yourself a Simply Bitcoin hoodie. And
as Rope was saying, great hunting season hoodies because it's very bright. You won't get lost in the woods.
And you can get yourself a Simply Bitcoin t-shirt. Or just go to the video description and you can get yourself some Simply Bitcoin merch. All right, everybody. It is time to go through some of the meme scores. All right. Next, first meme score is by Matthew J. Meme score 9 pieces out of 8. I don't understand, but that means that it's a perfect score.
You know, pieces of 8. Go look it up, guys.
All right, Denlas meme answer from Nico. I send you videos of Bitcoin graffiti on X. Bitcoin or death, art in my town. No answer. Have you seen?
Oh.
No. Please tag the Simply Bitcoin hand. Okay, you know what?
Post it on Twitter and tag us.
Drop your handle in the chat so I can find you. Sorry, I have my notifications off. Son of Satoshi meme review. 3 pastelitos de guayaba y queso. Oof, absolutely delicious. Next one by Philip Rizzo. I score the memes. Chancer on brink of second bailout for banks. Bullish, great score. Skiko05 Opti doing 2 twirls in that hoodie. Hey,
dude, I don't have enough room to twirl. I don't have enough room.
People have asked Opti. The people have asked. Room to twirl. I'm gonna put you full screen until you twirl.
I can't twirl.
Attempt to twirl. Yes, there we go. We got 1 twirl.
All right. You got 1. I don't have enough space. There's no space to twirl.
All right, you got it. You got what you asked for. If you're enjoying the show, but guys, by the way, subscribe and hit that like button. Really helps us. Anyways, Phil C gives the memes $20 Bitcoin purchase on Strike app right now. Okay. Christine Lagarde, praying mantis version, scored Nico and Opti sharing a beachfront hotel room, watching the orange sunset, holding each other.
Yes, this is the way.
Holding each other's private keys. That is funny. The Bitcoin Bugle. Hey, what's up, dude? My score is a scale to weight replicators at Pacific Bitcoin 2024. I don't know what replicators are. What is that?
If you know, you know. It looks, dude. Bugle. It looks like Nico is not reading enough Bitcoin Bugle.
Wait. No, bro. Hey, last time I read a Bitcoin Bugle article, he said that Elon Musk was Elon Musk got all the Bitcoiner wives pregnant.
Oh shit.
So
yeah, that was a good one.
all right. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the show, make sure to smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. But the number one thing you could do to help push the peaceful Bitcoin revolution is share Bitcoin content. Share this content, share other Bitcoin content, whatever floats your boat. Just get the orange signal out there. Get the message out into the masses. This is how we win this peaceful Bitcoin revolution. I'm your host, Nico. This is my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields. You can find us on Twitter. Hey, please drop your handle in the chat and I'll make sure to look at the stuff that you made for us. We love you guys. Opti's going to be holding it down on Twitter Spaces with our friends over at Swan Bitcoin, best place to build your Bitcoin stack. He's going to be holding it down until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to the best producer in the game, producer Jacob. Anyways, guys, we will see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. Peace out, y'all.
Hello, guys. How are you doing? Today's show went long. We've been going pretty long now. Anyways, this is a Bitcoin space by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. So come up here, add your 2 cents to the conversation. Actually, I'd kind of like to, hey, Brandon, if you can come up here and maybe Tao and some other Ragnar count of Bitcoin, I'd kind of like to jump in on